What's going on, people? It's I have to look to make sure. I noticed that other people I know are experiencing the same thing. Time slips are just like, what day is it? It's Wednesday, the 5th. Tomorrow's Thursday. I got some music to talk about, but I want to thank you all. I've really been receiving a lot of wonderful messages all across social media. It's good to hear from decent people, and the majority of you are. Keep it up. Keep it up. So I had a nice surprise. I hadn't heard from Daniel Israelson for a while. He has a group or a project called Blameful Isles. And a couple years ago, he sent me his first album, kind of jazzy, and then the second one was kind of Eastern. And this new one, Chimerical, is electronic. I love this. There are a lot of elements to drum and bass which you don't really hear because it's kind of had its day and gone. But the aspects of it that I really like are present here. I love the dancing quality and the kind of twinkling. Music twinkles. Not that it's pretty, but it's kind of like a jewel. This was a pleasant surprise in the mail, and this is what I like. I like receiving stuff I can speak easily about. The next thing is less in my wheelhouse, but they sent it to me to be reviewed, and I want to be encouraging. ThereIsNoTime is a new release by this project or this prog band, and this has an audience. You know, I have to speak very honestly. I come from a background of interest in love of progressive rock music, but there are aspects of progressive rock that don't appeal to me. And so sometimes people will send me stuff and it's like, well, this isn't hitting me right. I think there's an audience for this. I have to come back to this. It starts off with way too much singing, okay? Now, you all that follow me know that I prefer instrumental. But I don't want to discourage anyone who might find this interesting. Do you hear what I'm trying to say? Okay. ThereIsNoTime. I've listened to this twice now. I like those graphics. Some of the musical passages are kind of cool. This is for a different audience than, say, me, okay? But there it is, and check it out. I also received some CDs. One of the people in this group is a friend of mine on Facebook, although we've never met. But I like his vibe when I see his post. Mika Pontecorvo. Mika Pontecorvo. I was sent these 3 discs of work that involves him. Tierra Lingua, sketches. This one also includes drummer G. Calvin Weston, who has a background in jazz. This one is Diaspora, Focii, Luggage, and VoiMaa. Now, these, I have to tell you now, I know about improvisation. This is mostly improvised. And the thing about improvisation, truly when it comes to improvisation, it doesn't necessarily always sound good. When you're improvising, you're playing, you're exploring. Maybe you're not exploring. Maybe you're just playing, listening, interacting. Maybe not. And so my first impressions of these are that this is some heavy stuff to get into. The one that is the most pleasing to listen to right away is VoiMaa. These other two take some work, because it's like when it's like I'm listening to these people improvise. Not all of it is gelling. Not all of it sounds good, which again is not necessarily the goal. Now, I'll tell you honestly, as an improviser myself, I've been doing it for many, many years. I got to a point quite a while ago where I took the risk that when you're jamming or you're doing something and it just goes on, and it's like it's just going on and it's like nothing is changing. I think I learned this from my dad and a couple of other musicians, to take the risk to change. Don't be stuck. I'm not saying any of this is stuck, but what I'm saying is when I improvise, I'm listening and I do go for good. I go for moments. So that's what I'm listening for with these, is what I'm saying. I'll have to come back to these. It only looks like one of these is available for sale, the Tierra Lingua. I'll try to remember the link. Been listening to relaxing and listening to my collection since I'm mostly, I keep finding these little pockets, but I'm mostly done. And just marveling at all of the records that I have forgotten or haven't listened to. Here's a jazz album that I want to highly recommend. That it's just, man, Billy Hart, the drummer who's played with everyone, but was notably with Herbie Hancock before he did Headhunters. This is raw. And he has great players on here, including folks that played with him with Herbie Hancock. Eddie Henderson. Matter of fact, they do Eddie Henderson's Dreams on here from his Inside Out album, if you know that album. This is wonderful. I popped this on yesterday. I hadn't listened to it for a while. Another jazz album I hadn't played in a while, Open Sky. This one features Dave Liebman, Frank Tusa, and Bob Moses. A lot of improvisation on here. Now, this is an example where it's a jazz-based improvisation, and so they're trying to have a cohesive mix. They are listening closely. I'm not, again, don't misunderstand what I'm saying about this. So I have to listen to it more. It's just that they're doing what they're doing, and you go with it, find a place in it, and I haven't, on this one in particular, I haven't found it yet. This one is some good improvisation. Dave Liebman's a good sax player. You know, he played with Miles Davis. One more on the jazz tip. I hear you people. You know, I respond the way I want to. A jazz artist that I think is completely forgotten unfairly is the amazing Betty Carter. Now, when we talk about jazz vocalists, and some of the greats we always hear about, Ella Fitzgerald, fantastic, Sarah Vaughan, amazing, Dinah Washington, Blossom Dearie. You know why they don't talk about Betty Carter? Because she was a badass bitch. She had attitude, and she didn't suffer fools, and she could throw down. This woman can sing. She played with the finest of the finest. I have a couple other albums by Betty Carter. You want to know about some real jazz? Here's Betty Carter for you, okay? I find it interesting, on NPR this morning they were reporting some survey where democracy is what the majority of people in the world want. And interestingly, one of the biggest enemies listed of democracy is the United States. At this point, I have to agree. We have a lot of work to do to heal. Be a part of the healing, people. Be part of the healing. That's why I don't mince my words about my feelings, as a human being, and a human being with dark skin. It's an issue, people are not regarded clearly as humans and valued. And I'll just speak about it because it affects me directly, and we can do so much better. Love is the answer.